Hey everybody, welcome back to Northernlion, Plays the Binding of Isaac AFTERBIRTH Plus. Had some ups and downs, but we're here at 8 wins. What an exciting time for us in our lives. This looks like Cain. It looks like Judas is what I meant to say. You might have misheard me there. I said Judas, and that is who we're going to be. By the way, 1PCPRX8V, I have absolutely no comment on this subject matter. Although I'm going to let you know, if you're watching this game, or if you're watching this video, last episode I talked about how my young NHL compatriot, Mike DiPietro, he's in net for the game against the Canucks, or as the Canucks against the Sharks tonight. Literally, as I start the episode, I look over to my 173-inch flat-screen TV. You blew it. Let another one in. It's a tough break, you know? You're playing against the modern era's Wayne Gretzky's. Evander Kane, Timo Meier, Joe Thornton, Greg Bigsby, Johann Sebastian Puck. I'm just making up names, and you can figure out for yourself where they finished. I love sports names. I don't know what it is. We started with the pentagram, too. Okay, you know, it's a convenient point for me to go. You know what? I miss Eden. I do. I miss the Eden starts. Give me some Eden starts. I don't even want to think about what just happened, right? That was a real bummer. By the way, 18 rate of fire. HLTX SQES. 18 rate of fire and Curse of the Tower. What are you doing? 4.32 damage, sure, but still. Alright, this is, I mean, that hurts. Should have been focusing. Instead, I was brewing up an anecdote in my head about how, like, you know, there's different sports have different video, or different names, I should say, that are associated. I'm trying to think of a good example, because, you know, it's hard without pulling an example out of, you know, existing real life. Like, if I go, hey, what does Wayne Gretzky sound like? You're going to be like, a hockey player, and I'd be like, wrong. He owns a vineyard, idiot. You know, there's this great image of made-up names from a Japanese developer for American baseball players in their sports video game, and it's all amazing. Here, I'll see if I can pull it up on the other tab here. You gotta give me 1 second, though. Maybe I should be focusing on the game. Who are you, my mom? Get out of here. Japanese-made American yes, American names. Tomo, would you like to come in? Welcome. Sleeve McDykel, Onsen Sweeney, Daryl Archideld, Anatoly Smorin, Ray McSriff, Glenn Allen Mixon, Mario McAcklewayne, Raul Chamgerlain. I just think if you say all of these names like an announcer. Ladies and gentlemen, your starting lineup for the Vancouver Canucks, Kevin No Gilney. Number 69, Tony Schmerick. Number 69, Bobson Dugnut. Starting in net, number 69, Willie Dustis. And of course, your captain, Carl Dandleton. They're all great names. Hold on, that's a good bit. But I can't pursue that because I have to look at that. And if I have to look at that, I can't look at this. If I have to look at that, I can't look at this. It's like the that song, you know the one. You can look at this, or you can look at that. You can look at this, or you can look at that. I don't know why I said it like Fatboy Slim, who is not the artist who sang that. So I don't know, is Fatboy Slim a dude? The world is not, it's been so much more complicated ever since I found out the Chemical Brothers was actually 6 rotating dudes in blue paint. And I was always wondering, how can they have, you know, 3 of them in Las Vegas and then another 3 of them on tour? It doesn't, okay, I'm obviously confusing them with the Blue Man Group, aka Will Smith and Aladdin. This will probably be the last Isaac episode today. Maybe ever, because my skills are apparently truly god-awful. Yeah, sure. We'll grab it. I blame the fact that I look like a Fire Emblem character. I don't have a problem with Fire Emblem characters when they're in Fire Emblem. I have a problem with Fire Emblem characters when they are in Smash. Not because they're from Fire Emblem, but because every single one of them is just insanely annoying. If you don't play Smash, you know, I mean, it doesn't matter. If you don't play Smash, this anecdote's not going to fit, but, you know, there's going to be another 8 or 9 in this episode, so who cares? All the Fire Emblem characters are annoying in their own unique way. Marth, my dude's got a quick sword. I used to have that problem myself. Just takes practice to get over it. Maybe some, Kegels. Ike. Ike is my favorite sword boy, but he's also by far the most annoying to play against. Because here's what you do with Ike. You jump up in the air, and you press the A button, and then there's an optional step, which is press a direction. And then that's basically, you are now a 2.5 million GSP Ike player, bare minimum. Never, ever stop jumping and pressing the A button when, unless you have to for whatever reason. And you will be fine. I mean that sincerely. You will do okay. Neutral air, forward air, back air, and then if you knock them off the edge, just like set them up for a dirty side smash punish. I know that sounds ridiculous. Anyway, I'm not going to go deeper into this because it's a little bit... You know, I know just enough about Smash to get myself in trouble, but not enough to, you know, actually be that good. But I've heard... So Elite Smash is the threshold at which you... at which you cross into a different hopper, so you play against people who are consistently better. I think that's how it works anyway. And I've been told it's the top 3.5% of each character. So the threshold is constantly changing, which is an interesting way to do it, and I, you know, mean that impolitely without being undiplomatic. But it's really, yikes, I hate to do it, but I think we probably will. I owe you one, now that I've ruined my run accidentally, ruined my streak accidentally. Where was I going with this? It's really the first time I've been good enough at a video game. It's like getting your bachelor's degree. It's a good metaphor in here, and I mean this sincerely. Once you finish a 4-year program in most disciplines, you don't know anything. Or you don't know enough, at least. You know just enough to know that there's a whole world out there that you don't understand whatsoever. That you're going to need to understand if you want to reach the top of your field. It's like when, you know, you watch a movie like in the Marvel universe and there's one Infinity Stone and you're like, yo, they just went on like a 2-hour adventure with no real consequences to get that Infinity Stone, and then there's 6 of them? That's crazy. So that's how I feel with Smash right now. Like in PUBG was another example of a game I put a ton of time into. I am bad enough, well, let's rephrase. I am too bad to know how much better really good players are. You know, if you're like, Shroud's good at the game, I'm like, yeah, but you know, if we went one-on-one, I got a chance. I mean, it's just clicking the left mouse button. Maybe I could take him. And that's obviously dumb. I want to make that known. But in my heart of hearts, I'm like, I mean, I'm not going to say it's 50-50, but I'm thinking like, you know, 4-1. Hello, Ruka. Would you like to come into the room? Welcome. Please don't eat the styrofoam that's in here. I have to take it down to the garbage a little later. Yes, sir. Don't eat that. It's not packing peanuts. It's 2 big styrofoam bricks that were used to insulate a monitor that Kate got shipped because her old one basically exploded. Hey, you were supposed to be slow. We got to be a little bit more careful with our HP because we don't have Book of Revelations. Anyway. In Smash, I'm actually pretty good. I don't need you to tell me I'm pretty good or to be like, hey, you're not actually that good. Because I know. I mean, I'm like just sub-elite and really... Hey, I heard you bite that styrofoam. What are you doing, you weirdo? I'm just... What the heck is happening here? I'm just sub-elite. So I'm gotta be like top 5% or something like that. And when I say just, I mean like, you know, for anyone who plays Smash, I'm under 50,000 GSP away from what the threshold for Inkling is right now. Anyway, when I watch really, really good players play Smash, or when I play against you, they'd homed right into me. When I play against people who are demonstrably better than me, it opens my eyes to like a whole new world. It's wild. It's illuminating to be good enough to actually get over that Dunning-Kruger effect. You know, I know that it's Reddit's favorite like psychological phenomenon, but it's the idea that like, you know, the less skilled you are at something, the less likely you are to be aware of the fact that you're actually unskilled at it. You know, we could put it a little bit more succinctly. Stupid people are too dumb to realize how dumb they are. I don't. You might think that implicitly by saying that I'm being annoying, you know, or anti, you know. Ruka, what are you doing? He's just laying there. That's fine. I don't know. That I'm being intellectualist or something like that. I don't know. Maybe I'm too stupid to know how stupid I am. The scientist said so. Grab it. So it's interesting to me, I guess, is really the end of this. And anytime I can't figure out how to end an anecdote, I just say, it's interesting to me. And everyone goes, well, he's very thoughtful right now. But it is, you know, because now I really realize that if I practice, let's say, Apex Legends 8 hours a day for the next 2 years, I might be able to get to the point where I could watch someone really good at the game and be like, oh my god, I finally understand how much better you are than me. Because right now I watch them and I'm just like, I gotta shoot like that. I just don't want to sometimes. I don't understand it. It's weird to me because, like, I don't know, I find video games, I don't mean to say, how did I walk through the bomb? My bomb meta is like all screwed up, dude. My brain's getting fried. What's the temp in here? 30 degrees Celsius. Hold on, open this bad boy up. Let's make the room a little cooler here. You know, it's like when you got a high performance computer, you get the liquid cooling going on. That's what I got going on right here. I got a high performance neurological computer going on in my skull, and it's generating too much heat. Mikey. 5-1. Please take him out of there. You're gonna destroy this poor kid's confidence. Anyway, all I'm saying is in Slay the Spire, when someone's better than me, it makes perfect sense. Because I'm like, you're more knowledgeable about the cards, and you know what works. That's a learned skill. When somebody's better than me, or they kill me in like a battle royale, this is not intellectually the way I feel, but I do feel like this for a second every time it happens. I'm like, well, that's unfair. He just shot me faster. I sort of don't understand how you get better at those games, if that makes sense. And I feel, I don't really know how to describe it. I'm not doing a good job of it, clearly. I can tell you that much. I think the world beats get out of jail free for me personally. But it's like racing games. I played enough of them as a kid. Played a lot of Project Gotham Racing 2, Gran Turismo. A lot of like pseudo-simulation racing games. Forza, etc., etc. I really thought that would make it to you. When I play a racing game now, it's like second nature. You learn how the physics of the cars work, and then you just apply all the agnostic skill that you learned about the game to that as like a framework, and you're good to go. And I know that sounds like overly simplistic, and it is, like by design, but I think that's kind of what's happening. We can wait till the caves too. I think that's kind of what's happening, is that, you know, when I should have been playing a crap load of PC shooters in order to get my Battle Royale, you know, basics up, I was playing a Halo 2 on the original Xbox, not actually improving my ability to aim mechanically with a mouse and keyboard. Now, am I very good at aiming with a controller? No. And you raise a valid point there, that would pretty much disprove my original premise. Simultaneously, look over there. All right, now we're good to go. What is it, Ruka, that you want to... You have a predilection to sleep on a new thing. I'm not a cat. Surprise, surprise. But this seems like the kind of thing, and I might be wrong. I would love to hear reasoning on this. Honestly, I took a course in my final year of university that was kind of like this. It was a great introduction to the uncertain nature of some parts of science. You know, it was an evolutionary psychology course where you'd look at human behavior, patterns of human behavior, and then you and your classmates would, there were only like 20 people in the class, you would posit, you know, what could be some evolutionary reasons that this behavior exists. Now, a lot of that, I don't want to say is debunked as pseudoscience, but it kind of just, there's no way to prove it, so it's a fundamentally sort of bad science, I think. That's the way I think about it now, despite having, you know, enjoyed the course a lot of the time. You'd be like, well, why do cross-culturally women tend to take older mates and men tend to take younger mates? And you'd be like, well, you know, yeah, and this is getting into some troubling discourse. I don't want to say it was social Darwinism, but you would be like, well, you know, it stands to reason that, you know, as a man gets older, his ability to provide for his family gets better, you know, because your resources tend to grow as your age gets older, but your reproductive ability falls. So if men were looking for reproductive ability as an indicator for who they wanted to mate with, you know, they would prefer mates who were a little on the younger side, and maybe women would prefer mates, on average, that were on the older side. So it was an interesting class, because people would say stuff like that, and then literally all you could do was go, yeah, maybe. It was... The whole gist of the course was just, you know, you'd look at like a psychological thing, or again, a pattern of behavior in either human or even animal behavior, and you would just go, hey, maybe it's because of this. And then your professor would go, interesting. It would be nice if we could, you know, create a study or something that could do that, but obviously we can't, so that will remain an untested hypothesis, but who knows? Maybe you're right. And then all of our grades were question marks. No, actually we were graded on... It was a sign of the times, dude. We were graded on a presentation that we did at the end of the year that was like a 35 to 40 minute long TED-style presentation. And I crushed it. As you can tell, I'm very charismatic, but what you might not know is I'm also fantastic on the slides. I'm a good PowerPoint guy. I put a lot of work into it, a little style, a little panache. But no coconut gun. Anyway, I'm trying to figure out why my son would have something in his brain that says, hey, there's something new in this house. I should sleep on it. It might be a little bit overly reductive, but I do kind of find myself thinking, hey, my man, if you sleep on something new in the wild, aren't you worried it's going to be a snake or something that would otherwise harm you? Or, I mean, even the styrofoam, like, I'm not mad, my man. Hello? How you doing? I'm not mad, but you shouldn't, I mean, it's not like it's poison, but it's poison to eat it. Which I guess all poison is poison if you eat it. By the way, I brought up a couple of Isaac episodes ago, I was talking about the Ted Bundy situation, and I know it rubs some people the wrong way. I'm not apologizing. I'm a man! But, I was like, was it just really easy to get away with murder back in, like, you know, even 40, 50 years ago? It was like if you couldn't... If they didn't leave, like, their driver's license at the scene of the murder, it seems like the murderer was pretty much just good to go. Well, I've been watching this show called Murder Maps, which was recommended to me, and it's kind of, it's a trashy show. But it's not like trashy in the same way like the Kardashians' television empire is. It's trashy like, it's schlocky. It's B television. So it's a British crime show about like famous murders that took place in London. In like the, I mean, within the period you would probably refer to as semi-recent history. You know, like the 1800s and early 1900s. And then there's reenactments and it's a whole thing. Dude, you're not gonna love this, but I'm gonna sack a bone heart to go in here out of laziness. to try to become Guppy. That was a little unlikely. Anyway, and there was it was in the 1900s. So I don't want to say it was the 1950s, but it was in like 19. Oh no, wait, I'm confusing two here. No, I'm not. This was the early 1900s, and it's a great story so far. You know, I can tell you're riveted. There was a young lady. She was 19 years old. She worked at a tavern or a pub. It was owned by her husband, who was he was an older man. And then she got violently ill, and she was ill for a long time, and she got a little better, and then she got a lot worse, and she got a little better, she got a lot worse. Long story short, you can probably figure it out for yourself. He's poisoning her. And they had experts on, by the way, the show's called Murder Maps. It's on Netflix if you're interested. I wouldn't sit there and stay glued to your TV, but if you're looking for something to mindlessly put on in the background, by all means. The experts were basically like, poisoning was like a really common murder back in, you know, the olden days. Because literally, they just looked sick, and then they died, and then you were like, well, must have been the Spanish flu, and then they just bury you. And even if they did perform an autopsy, you know, they didn't possess a lot of the same kind of, not just knowledge, but like literal technology to be able to, I don't know, take a sample or something and be like, yeah, that's positive for, you know, antimony or something like that. Or arsenic, cyanide, you get the idea. So all I'm saying is, as usual, I'm right. Range up. Range up. I guess, like, again, it's like the worst time to be a murderer. And that's a very good thing for the rest of us. I want you to know, I almost wasn't a coward and said for the rest of you. But I was like, people are going to take it seriously. Or even if they don't take it seriously, they're going to be like, I don't know, it's kind of a weird comment. And they would be right. It would be a little bit of a strange comment. I would like to get a reroll that's better than compost, please. Anyway. Like now, they're like, oh, he left a single fingerprint and a hair sample at the scene of the crime. It's, you know, Tom Johnson. And he's like, how'd you get me? And they're like, you know, literal sci-fi technology. Back in the day, they were like, well, she's dead. Do you think she could have been killed? I don't know. Husband seems like a nice guy. Let's just not rock the boat on this one. Maybe he'll confess later. Now, you might be saying, NL, the results of the fact that there's a television program confirms that your premise... Oh, Lord, a 6-1. It defies your original premise that they were not discovered. The only reason they were discovered, and this is what I said, you gotta be a real dummy, I think, to get caught for murder in, like, you know, 1800, is he had also literally poisoned his previous 2 wives in the exact same fashion. Literally, all of his wives, like every wife that he had died due to a mysterious illness that doctors could not diagnose. And even still, and you can watch the show if you don't believe me, even still, at least according to the reenactment, and I'm not trying to say that that's necessarily sterling history, but according to the reenactment, the doctors were still like, well, it is a little mysterious, but I don't know. We can't... Look, who amongst us hasn't had 3 spouses die under incredibly mysterious, suspicious circumstances? You know? An eye for an eye leaves everybody blind, Constable. We can't just... Sure, by the way, I think that lady's a witch. Please light her on fire to find out. But this guy over here, he might just have had 3 sick wives. Anyway. I know the Salem witch trials were not contemporaneous with the investigation taking place. It's just a joke to hide. Look, there's the present and the past. They're both flat. Okay? The year 0 is the year 1998 as far as I'm concerned. A time we can't go back to. Steps 2. I would actually really like to take the Emperor on this floor and following this floor. It would help us out a lot. Anyway, Luongo story short. I'm just giving you a very clandestine way to recommend an okay true crime show. It's not, I mean, it's not as true crimey as something like, you know, Making a Murderer. Or the Ted Bundy tapes, for example. But it's okay. It's bad television, but, you know, sometimes that's what you want. And a lot of people have tweeted me about Abducted in Plain Sight. That's why I recommended that. That was a show that, watching that show made me want to die. Everybody else that I've seen tweet about that show has said the same thing. Every tweet starts like this. Watching Abducted in Plain Sight on Netflix, and the parents, WTF? Yep, that you are not wrong. That is the exact takeaway that you should always have. I'm watching this. What on earth is wrong with the parents? They should be in jail, even though they didn't commit what might be classified as crimes. They just are too dangerous to be left to their own devices. I really thought we could make it. Guess we do have low speed. Really trying to get like a single key, by the way. We should still win this. I mean, we should win every run. So I go into every run believing that, but we should definitely still win this one. Stats are okay. But it's not super strong. Got a little bit more to go here until we can give up on that item room, unfortunately. Anyway. I don't think I got a recommendation, but if I did, if you recommended it to me and I ignored it or didn't see it, I apologize. I would love to read a book. Sorry, notification. Not a big one. About, like, criminology in the ye olden days. Because it interests me, for one. It seems... I know it seems like I'm preoccupied with the idea that it's incredibly easy to get away with murder back then. Like, those were the days. If only I'd lived in the 1600s. Or the 1300s. You could just commit murder and blame it on the plague. But, no, that's not what I'm saying, obviously. It's just kind of fascinating having lived my entire life in the era of, like, DNA evidence. Where you're like, I didn't do that, officer. And they're like, really? Well, why is your seminal fluid at the scene of the crime? And you're like, oh, all right, you got me. You know, back then, it really seems like you could just be like, she died. You'd be like, you know, they'd be like, do you have anything to do with this? And you'd be like, no. And they'd be, all right, that's good enough for me. Yikes, dude, these items. Please. Maybe I shouldn't, but I'm gonna grab this. Can we grab the battery charge for the cost of a bomb? Should be able to. We're gonna go into the curse room. Oh, thank you. And then we'll teleport into the mom fight. Yikes. How are we doing on HP? It's very interesting. Oh, you fool. Okay, this sounds very dumb, but here's what you do. Go ahead and drop the Emperor down here. I'm looking and I'm like, oh my god, I hope our HP's not horrible. I've been going in and out of these rooms nonstop. But we got birth throw here. I feel like we should take advantage of the fact that we got a little extra going on here. But this is a little reckless. Okay, very good. Thank you. Take the Emperor card. But then we can't... you should have just used the birth throw rune, you big dumb idiot. Okay, what's another half spirit heart? You know? Just throw another one away. Who cares? Take another spirit heart now, baby. Wow. This takes you to an error room. If it makes you feel good. I know you're like, do it. But I don't really want to do it. Because I think the Emperor card, like, legitimately is kind of a linchpin for keeping us alive and winning the run. Whereas an error room costs us our Emperor card and might give us a fight against 2 Ragman with 0 items to our benefit. Or it could give us, you know, 4 items. Yeah, they're both plausible, I suppose. We still didn't lose our deal with the Devil Chance, so we must have had a pretty good base of Spirit Hearts. Either way, I had a Seinfeld joke pop in my head today. It happens from time to time. I do like Seinfeld. Do I like Jerry Seinfeld? I think his stand-up is okay, but is, wow, we missed our 72% chance. Is a little bit, it's dated. Let me put it that way. And he doesn't have to prove anything to me. But the thing with Jerry Seinfeld is that, his comedy is straight out of the 1980s. Clean, inoffensive, observational humor. And that's totally fine. I would probably stay in the exact same style if I was worth, I don't know, $1 billion for telling jokes. Probably wouldn't be in too much of a hurry to switch up the style that got me to that point, and which he seems to enjoy anyway. But the show Seinfeld, I love. And I'm not going to take anything away from Jerry, even though people are like, Larry David was responsible for all. I don't think so. I think, you know, they both, from what I can glean, which is nothing because I don't know them, they both added their unique talents to one of television's most seminal programs. That's 2 uses of seminal in the same video. Amazing. Thank you for Goathead. Dude, hairpin, whatever this is called, plus Blank Card Emperor. What an incredible combo. We use Blank Card Emperor. We immediately charge up Blank Card again. We're going to lose our Bone Harp, probably. But, oh, well, yeah, especially if you stand right next to these enemies. Wow. We're going to be very low on HP. Either way, the Seinfeld joke is very good. Where, now I'm like, wait a minute, is this actually a Seinfeld joke? Or did I see this on Reddit somewhere? I thought they were talking, maybe I saw it on Reddit somewhere in a thread about Zombieland 2. And if this is actually not from Seinfeld, you did a great job of emulating his style. They're talking about Bizarro and Superman, and how Bizarro is Superman's, he's inverted Superman, basically. And, you know, he's like Superman, but ugly and evil. And they're like, well, when he enters the room, he says goodbye. Or when he leaves the room, he says hello. And when he enters the room, he says goodbye. And then George goes, shouldn't he say bad bye? Okay, look. I don't think I did the joke any favors. You know what? I really thought it would keep working. These guys thought of everything! Yo, that would have been a very bad time to be hit. I don't want you to think that I don't want to win this run. I have been playing a little lazy, but I do want to win this run. I don't want to get 2 losses in one video. That would be a very subpar experience. Is also, or maybe it would be incredible for you guys, I don't know. It's also very telling to me, because I've been playing this, I've been playing Slay the Spire. In Slay the Spire, if I had a run where I felt the kind of anxiety that I'm feeling right now, you know what we call that run? A good run. But I've played so much Isaac, this is like a high-octane, dangerous situation, and I'm like, you know, I'm calm, we're probably gonna win. I'm sure if I had the same number of hours in Slay the Spire as Isaac, I would be like, well, you know what? Maybe I would have been smarter about it. I died to my own bombs, and this hurts me because Curse of the Tower is the item we started with. I didn't even take it on like a question mark or anything. Well, for now, thanks for watching. I suck. If you enjoyed the episode, click the like button. Helps out a great deal. Of course, subscribe if you want to see more in the future. For now, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Haha, I'm bad.